I thought your column was tremendous, first of all. Read it if you haven't. But we had a chat discussion going on that was very, very interesting.
And I flipped on it.
I know you did.
Yeah,
because
you did.
when I read this, I go, wait a minute.
Yep.
This isn't what he was saying on our personal text.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right.
And so to bring everybody up to speed, Mike Polk sent the text to the group. Is it now time that we can take shots at Myles Garrett for being a fool?
Yeah.
He let his team down. He said when the quarterback was out at the beginning of the year, defense has to step up and save the day.
Yep.
And then he does something through his own foolishness off the field that makes him unavailable. So Mike's question to the group was, is he fair fodder now? Can we take shots at him for at least being foolish? Glad he's okay. That's wonderful. But this is a pattern of bad behavior. A pattern of bad behavior.
Or bad decisions, I would say.
Yeah. No,
immature.
Going 100 twice
I would call
in the same
it
day
immature decision making.
It's bad behavior.
Which I have as well.
I said in the group, I had 2 speeding tickets this year.
And that's why I didn't want to come down on him at first.
But the question in the group was, and I thought it was kind of 50-50. There were guys that were saying, well, wait a minute. A lot of people speed. We can't beat them up.
I thought I was the only one that's saying it was fair to criticize him.
No, I was too.
Oh, okay.
I said, look, did he make a mistake? Yes. Is it a mistake that we all make from time to time? Yes. My problem is he's made that mistake 7 times in 3 years.
Yeah.
And
that we know of.
How many times do you think the cop came up to the car and said, hey, Myles Garrett, what's it? Hey, slow it down,
Slow
Myles.
down, buddy.
How many times do you think he's been pulled over in the last 3 years if he's been written 7 times? He's Myles Garrett. He's been let off, probably, just a guess.
Or how many?
Probably more times he's been let off.
Or how many?
That, by the way, the cop that lets him off might be the cop that let him off, that let Myles think I can do anything. Myles, your life is on the line here. People die every day from reckless driving. I think it was, I heard a couple of different announcers yesterday say politely, Myles, slow it down. Slow down. Sometimes, maybe this was the best thing that could ever happen to Myles Garrett, who will now hopefully drive the speed limit the rest of his life and never have to worry about killing someone or himself in a car accident. But I want you to go into what you wrote, and I'm really curious to know why you changed your mind.
Because I struggled with this because I said in the chat, I can be many things, I have many flaws. I try really hard to never be a hypocrite. I never want to wag a finger at someone else for stuff I've done myself.
Right.
I drive really fast. I have a lot of speeding tickets.
I do too, but I don't have the speeding tickets.
Well, congratulations. But to me, it was more of a totality. The more I thought about it, and it wasn't just our group chat.
Was it the loss that made you rethink it?
A lot of it.
That's what I wanted to ask you.
Because the more that I thought about it, and I thought Mike made some good points, and in talking to just other people and having other random conversations about it, it was really more of the totality of the maturity of Myles Garrett. And I know some people may roll their eyes and say, this is really stupid. Last year on Halloween, he had the cape with all like the tombstones of all the quarterbacks and everything. He was having fun with it going into the game. Browns lost that game to the Steelers. He wore the cape. He wore a Halloween costume into the media room to do postgame. And I thought,
bad luck.
How childish is that? You lost the game. If you win the game, come in and have fun with it. You lost the game. And then this year, to criticize the fans after the loss to the Jets and say that they shouldn't be booing, that's nonsense. That's immaturity emerging and showing out. And now to have this on top of that, so it was more the totality of it's not just speeding. It's just the immaturity of the whole thing. Myles has some growing up to do. And I say that as somebody who really likes Myles. I've had some
Myles
good
Garrett.
conversations with him. I went to bat for him. After the helmet swing, I defended him. I went and looked for the audio from the field. Like, I spent a couple of weeks trying to find audio or evidence of audio, emails of the NFL trying to bury the audio to see if he was telling the truth. So I've gone to bat for him multiple times, but I'm to the point now where it's like, man, you got to grow up. You've got to grow up. This can't keep happening. And if I got a ticket for driving over 100 miles an hour, I probably would slow down. I probably wouldn't drive as fast as
now
in consecutive days.
Threatening.
Yeah.
And by the way, there was an innocent person in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
And by the way, just to clarify, he wasn't driving 100 this day.
We don't know.
65 and a 45 according to police.
Yeah, according
That's
to police,
an estimation.
They say 65.
Yeah.
So 65 certainly isn't 100, but Zach Jackson lives sort of out there, our Browns writer, and he said, listen, these are roads you do not want to be doing 65 on.
I've talked to people that travel these roads on a regular basis, and they said 65 on that road is entirely too fast.
Yes.
He was cited for reckless.
Yes.
And it is reckless. It's a curvy road. It's got a lot of ups and downs.
Anytime you wreck, you're going to have reckless stop or failure to control. But yes, people who drive those roads consistently say No way should anyone be doing 65.
By the way,
on
the
this road.
highway speed limit should be higher than 60, though.
So
Let's be honest.
Not on that road.
No, highway.
Highway, you're right.
Yeah.
But on that particular road,
Yeah.
45 is plenty.
So let me say this, because I'm listening to your point, and there's nothing I can agree with more, that obviously a vehicle is a very dangerous instrument if used the wrong way, right?
It's a deadly weapon if used the wrong way.
And so you talk about the maturity and maturation of a person, right? And it comes at different times and places and instances for different people, right? I don't think anybody among here sitting at this booth hadn't been in speeding behind a car at some point.
I'm 46 and I still drive too fast.
And so,
I freely admit it.
So we sit here, and I hope this is a life lesson to him.
I do too.
I swear I hope it is a life lesson to him, because it could have went all bad. It's already bad. It could have went really, really bad. But I will tell you this. Money, power, the ability to buy fast cars is a curse.
And fame.
And fame of young people.
For every cop that gave him his license back and told him to slow down,
has been,
they gave
right?
him more
The
power
lack of accountability.
to enable himself.
And we're just
to
guessing.
do that.
We have to say we're just guessing that happened, but it's a pretty fair guess.
I'm not gonna be a hypocrite on this thing, right? I'm gonna tell you, okay, so I'm in an argument. I'm going back to my Chicago days. I'm in an argument with me and Jordan having fun in practice one day, right? I got a 944 Porsche Turbo that's been souped up. He got a 911. We arguing at the practice about whose car was faster. And so what we said, we're 22.
Let's go settle it.
We said, we're going to settle this. Let me tell you how we settled it. We take 6 teammates. So we're going to go on the highway in Chicago, right? 2, get behind us. You block the back of the highway, right? 2, go ahead. Block it up front.
Oh, man.
We're going to stretch this thing out, right? For $1,000. That's for $1,000. We'll stretch this thing out, right? And so, I mean, we had to be well over 100 on this thing, right?
Sure.
And I'm in the 100. I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, this is.
Who won the race?
Well, he won. Because I'm like, listen, I got to the speed limit was too fast. I was like, it's too fast here. So I said, this is not an occurrence that is an anomaly.
No, what happens?
It's out there.
Young people
That's
with
exactly
money.
how Bobby Fields died.
The question,
That's exactly how Bobby Fields died.
And Bobby used to sit in my house, right? And he would buy car parts from me all the time, right? So this thing is, you have to hope that this instance changes the outlook for him.
I pray it does.
I'll give you, and this is there. I think this is one of the most serious things that I probably ever said. When I go to a party school, I went to OU, and when you at OU, I mean, when you party, and that means alcohol, that means drugs. I'm not gonna tell you what exact ones was it, because there was a lot of them. And I'm gonna tell you something. I always felt a little strange, because, the drugs and alcohol really never got to me. I would be like, man, I don't know am I supposed to be, this supposed to feel good, or is this supposed to be great? It would never hit me like that. And they always tell you, if you listen to anybody with addiction, they said all it takes is the one to find it. And that's what you hooked on. And I thank God that I never found it. But I'm gonna tell you what, there was good friends around me that found it quick. And I'm like, okay, cool. We good. We'll get out of here. I'm 1 year out of school. We good. We've always done this. We good. Until my buddy called me and said, hey, so and so died. And I said, what? I said, yeah, he died. He overdosed, accidental. And I felt horrible, because I felt I enabled it, because it didn't hit me like that. Oh, we could do that. Then, after he died, 3 of my friends went to rehab. 3. In and out. One of them still in and out in rehab. So all you got to do is learn that it only takes one time, bro.
One time.
It take one time. Ask Teddy Pendergrass.
One time.
One time for you to do something, and it changed your life forever. We all lucky that
John Rodgers, the young draft pick for the Browns.
The stupid stuff that
Len
you
Bias.
do, you just the grace of God, you ain't out of here. You got lucky. And so my thought process is, the worst thing when they came to my mind that said it's not life threatening, but being paralyzed from the waist down, That may not consider losing your leg, losing your arm, your ability to do what you love to do. And I don't never want to see nobody confined to a chair, confined to a bed, confined to a room, and people having to clean and feed you because you wanted to just drive fast.
Right.
Think about that,
Myles,
man.
Myles Garrett has parents in Texas, right? And so I'll just tell you this, Myles. The good Lord has given you a second chance.
That's
Yep.
exactly right.
He's given you a second
Don't waste
chance.
it.
Do not waste it.
Don't waste
right?
it.
And then you take.
And this isn't about football either. I don't care at all about the football.
But to all of your points, really, if we're this shouldn't just be a lesson for Miles. It should be a lesson for
Everybody.
It's for all of us.
Everybody.
Right?
The three of us already said we drive
Right.
too
You drive
fast.
fast. People, how many times are you on at a stop sign? Stoplight,
Yep.
You see people on their phones.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Everything on their
Hell,
phones.
going
And
65
it's
on the
not just
highway,
young
I look
people.
over at people, they're on their phones.
It's not just young people.
No, it's not.
And people
not.
are, I mean, we're everybody. And what drives me nuts is when people will say, well, I'm not going to blame Myles Garrett because I drive fast. Well, instead of saying that, say, you know what? Myles Garrett was wrong, and I'm wrong,
And I'm
too.
wrong, and I'm
Right.
tripping
Instead
too.
of saying, I'm not going to say anything about
Right.
Myles Garrett because
We
I
tripping.
do it.
Well-
And this is about, it's like whenever somebody does something and then we say, well, their guy did it too. Or whenever a politician does something crappy, well, their guy does it too. Maybe we should all say, whether it's all these things, say, instead of trying to match what the other guy
Yeah,
does
yeah.
that's crappy,
Yeah, that's
maybe
whataboutism.
we all need to kind of
That's
say,
whataboutism.
yeah.
Just take accountability. And I readily, I've had this conversation on multiple levels with different people. I've constantly said, I'm not one to talk. I have 2 speeding tickets this year. I drive fast. I don't drive reckless. Now, if you say,
I
well,
don't
fast
either.
is
I don't drive
reckless,
recklessly,
I'm not
but-
weaving in and out of traffic, and I'm not going on country roads with a high-speed vehicle.
But there have been times where I'm like, I'm going too
over-
fast here.
And that's where I catch myself too. It's wrong.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. My house is made of glass. I'm not throwing stones. All I'm saying is, I wish for somebody who has everything. Think of the gifts that God has given this man. He has everything in his hand. I don't want to see him throw it away because he had a desire to drive fast.
And before we go to Mikey, I just want to make one point, and I think this is a fair criticism and fair shot you can say. When you're in a team sport, you recognize when you let your people down. When we out here in July, sweating it out here, trying to get to the top of the mountain, you let us down. You let
them down.
He let his team down.
You let your friends down. You did. You let your friends down. Now you got to make amends for it, right? And the amends for it is just here, staying on the straight and narrow. And when you can come back at the highest level you can. But be thankful that we're not at your funeral here.
That's exactly right.
My